The reporter who picked what's right over money. What makes a reporter with a perfect 20-year career at one of America's biggest news networks just walk away? Katherine Herridge wasn't kicked out. She wasn't canceled. She made a choice that left co-workers shocked and viewers confused. After leaving Fox News, she thought she'd found her perfect place at CBS. That didn't work out either. Today, she's in a federal courtroom facing punishment for doing what every investigating reporter should do: protect the people who give them information. From fancy colleges to secret government meetings, from Fox News to CBS layoff, from whistleblower stories to being locked out of her email, Katherine Herridge's journey shows uncomfortable truths about today's media. The craziest part: the fight she's in could change reporting forever. If she loses, every investigating reporter in America loses something irreplaceable. Born in Canada, Katherine Herridge was built for reporting. After moving to America for education, she went to Harvard University and earned her bachelor's degree in journalism. Then she went to Columbia Graduate School of Journalism for her master's. This wasn't someone playing at reporting. She understood that being trusted starts with being good at your job. In 1997, she joined Fox News and for 20 years became one of the most respected intelligence reporters in the business. As Fox's chief intelligence reporter, Herridge covered terrorism, military operations, national security, and government affairs. The kind of reporting that requires sources to trust you with their careers, sometimes their lives. She earned that trust by being super accurate. Awards started piling up: the Bronze World Medal from the New York Festival, the Tex McGraw Award for Journalism. These were proof she was doing something right in an industry increasingly doing things wrong. Her reporting style became her signature. No exaggeration, no hot takes designed to go viral. Just facts shared clearly without fake outrage that was becoming normal in cable news. In a media world turning every story into a war, Herridge seemed more interested in telling truth than making people angry. She broke major stories, did big interviews, and built a reputation as someone who wouldn't sacrifice accuracy for ratings. That reputation would become both her greatest strength and eventually why she couldn't stay. Early signs showed Herridge wasn't someone who'd give up when pushed. In 2010, she fought Fox News over pay differences. This wasn't just about money, it was about what's right. She fought and won. Looking back, that moment previewed what was coming. It showed a pattern. When faced with choosing between what's easy and what's right, Katherine Herridge would choose what's right every single time. Throughout it all, she balanced a demanding career with family life as a devoted mother and wife. She spoke openly about the challenge of handling these roles, emphasizing that never giving up and dedication mattered in both her personal and professional worlds. For nearly 20 years, this formula worked. She did great at Fox News, building trust brick by brick, story by story. But then something changed. The network that had been her work home started feeling like a place where facts were becoming optional. By the late 2010s, something was changing at Fox News, and reporters inside could feel it. The Trump era had arrived, and with it came changes in how the network approached coverage. What had once been a balance between news and opinion was tipping dramatically toward opinion that increasingly matched one political perspective. Katherine Herridge wasn't alone in noticing this. A growing list of reporters started leaving Fox News, and their exits weren't quiet retirements. These were people with concerns who felt the network's coverage of Trump and his administration was crossing lines reporters weren't supposed to cross. The internal atmosphere was described as increasingly divided. Opinion-driven content wasn't just doing well, it was drowning out hard news. For someone like Herridge, whose entire career had been built on factual, unbiased reporting, this created impossible tension. Her reporting required following facts wherever they led, questioning official stories, holding power accountable regardless of party. But the network's direction seemed to be moving away from that model. The space for objective reporting was shrinking. This wasn't about political disagreement. It was about whether facts still mattered when they went against the preferred story. In 2019, Katherine Herridge made her decision. She was leaving Fox News after 2 decades. The announcement sent ripples through the industry. She was joining CBS News. The reason she gave was telling. She spoke about CBS's commitment to real reporting and powerful investigations. She said she was honored to join a team where facts and storytelling would always matter. Read between the lines, and the message was clear. At Fox News, facts weren't matching the way they used to. The move got attention because of what it represented. Here was a respected intelligence reporter with deep sources and 20 years of inside knowledge walking away from one of the most powerful platforms in news. She wasn't being pushed. She was choosing to leave because she believed there was still a place in American reporting where being objective beat being partisan, where facts mattered more than ratings. She wasn't alone in leaving. Gretchen Carlson had filed her huge lawsuit. Shepard Smith would leave in October 2019, clearly frustrated. Chris Wallace would eventually follow in 2021. These weren't random exits. These were reporters who'd built careers on being trusted, and they were choosing to walk away rather than give up what they'd spent decades building. So Katherine Herridge joined CBS News in 2019, bringing her national security knowledge and reputation for deep, accurate reporting. The industry was watching. Would CBS be different? Would this be the place where fact-based reporting could still work? She thought she found her safe place. But here's where the story takes another turn. February 13th started like any other day, but it would end with Katherine Herridge's world turned upside down. She got a Zoom call. Her job was being ended just like that. But it wasn't just a layoff. She was immediately locked out of her emails, locked out of the office. No warning, no slow transition, just instant exile. Then came the part that should worry every reporter in America. CBS News took hundreds of pages of her reporting files. Not just any files, files that included secret source information. Let that sink in. A network that had promised her a home for real reporting, for powerful investigations, for stories where facts and storytelling would always matter. That network just took her secret source materials. The very foundation of investigating reporting is the promise that sources can trust reporters to protect their identities, and CBS had just taken control of information that could expose those sources. To be fair, Herridge's layoff wasn't personal. It was part of a larger massacre. 20 employees lost their jobs that day. The network, like media companies everywhere, was dealing with money pressures. The industry was changing. Viewer habits were shifting. Streaming was messing up everything. Traditional cable news was losing audience. Money problems were forcing difficult decisions at newsrooms across the country. But Herridge's response to the layoff showed the character that had defined her career. She didn't get bitter. She didn't trash CBS publicly. She didn't play victim. Instead, she kept her commitment to the principles that had guided her for decades. She spoke about how the industry landscape was changing, but insisted the need for factual reporting stayed as important as ever. But underneath the professional response, something more troubling was happening. Those files CBS had taken weren't just paperwork. They contained information about secret sources, people who'd trusted Herridge to protect them. And now a network with its own interests, its own legal concerns, its own business priorities had access to that information. The story doesn't end with a layoff and some taken files. Because one of those stories Herridge had worked on, one of those secret sources she protected, was about to become the center of a legal battle that could change reporting forever. And this time, it wasn't just her career on the line. It was her freedom. The story seemed straightforward when Katherine Herridge first reported it. Yinping Chen, a Chinese-American scientist, was under FBI investigation. Herridge had sources, secret sources who'd given her information about the investigation. She reported the story for CBS News, following the same ethical rules that have governed investigating reporting for generations. Protect your sources, keep your promises, keep the trust that makes future reporting possible. Then came the federal court order. A judge demanded that Herridge reveal her sources, and she refused. Not because she was being difficult, not because she wanted to be a hero, but because revealing those sources would break the basic principle that makes investigating reporting work. Sources talk to reporters because they trust their identities will be protected. Break that trust in one case, and every future source knows they can't rely on your promises. The entire system falls apart. The judge held her in civil contempt. Katherine Herridge, award-winning reporter, Harvard and Columbia educated, 2 decades of perfect reporting, now facing legal consequences for doing exactly what reporting ethics require. The craziness of the situation can't be overstated. The legal system tried to uncover information for one case, was threatening to destroy the way that uncovers information for all cases. Here's why this matters beyond Katherine Herridge's personal situation. Source protection isn't some nice-to-have feature of reporting. It's the foundation. Whistleblowers don't come forward if they think their names will end up in court documents. Government employees don't reveal wrongdoing if they believe they'll be identified and punished. Corporate insiders don't expose fraud if they're worried about payback. Without the promise of secrecy, investigating reporting dies. And without investigating reporting, corruption grows in darkness. The legal term for what happens when reporters are forced to reveal sources is chilling effect. It's not just about one reporter in one case. It's about every source who's watching and deciding whether they can trust reporters anymore. It's about every future investigation that never happens because sources stay silent. It's about government and corporate wrongdoing that never gets exposed because the way for exposure has been broken. What made this case particularly important was the support Herridge received from across the industry. Major media organizations backed her. Free press supporters rallied behind her. This wasn't a partisan issue. It was a press freedom issue. Reporters who disagree on everything else agreed on this. Forcing reporters to reveal sources sets a precedent that endangers all reporting. But there's another layer that makes this even more remarkable. In late 2023, Katherine Herridge filed a new legal action against Fox News. She's representing herself in court. Think about that. A reporter who's been laid off, who's facing contempt charges, who could have just walked away and found some other career. Instead, she's standing in a courtroom representing herself because the principle matters that much. She's not giving up. She's not backing down. She's fighting for source protection, for press freedom, for the principles that make investigating reporting possible. This isn't just about one reporter protecting one source. This is about whether the First Amendment's protection of press freedom means anything in practice. It's about the future of investigating reporting in America. If Herridge loses, if courts can force reporters to reveal sources whenever it's convenient for a legal case, then investigating reporting as we know it is finished. Sources will stop talking. Reporters will stop getting information. Wrongdoing will stay hidden. The powerful will become more powerful, and democracy will lose one of its most essential checks on corruption. Katherine Herridge's journey from Fox News to CBS to a federal courtroom teaches us important lessons. No network is safe from the forces destroying reporting. Fox News failed her when opinion crushed facts. CBS failed her when business priorities crushed principles. The uncomfortable truth is that reporting's business model is broken. Opinion-driven content is cheap to produce and creates passionate engagement. Investigating reporting is expensive, time-consuming, and often makes powerful people angry. When networks face money pressure, they know which one gets cut. But Herridge's contempt battle represents something even more dangerous: the potential collapse of source protection. If reporters can't promise secrecy and keep that promise, investigating reporting becomes impossible. Government wrongdoing goes unexposed. Corporate fraud stays hidden. Corruption grows. The powerful face no accountability because the way for holding them accountable has been destroyed. Her story also represents all the reporters facing similar choices. Stay and give up your principles, or leave and face an uncertain future. Protect your sources and face legal consequences, or give them up and destroy reporting's trust. The fact that Herridge chose principle over security, over career stability, over the easy path that matters. The personal cost of her choices can't be ignored. Career disruption, legal battles that could drag on for years, money uncertainty, standing alone for principle while watching colleagues take easier paths. She could have stayed at Fox and collected a paycheck. She could have quietly accepted the CBS layoff and moved on. She could have revealed her sources and avoided contempt charges. Every step of the way, there was an easier option. And every step of the way, she chose the harder path because it was the right path. So what does this mean for those of us consuming news, trying to figure out what's true? It means we need to understand what we're losing. We need to recognize that reporters like Herridge are becoming extinct. And when they're gone, we're left with talking heads and hot takes and nobody willing to do the hard, expensive work of finding out what's actually happening. Her fight isn't just her fight. It's everyone's fight for truth, for accountability, for the kind of reporting that makes democracy possible. When powerful institutions can operate without fear of being exposed, we all lose. When sources can't trust reporters, we all lose access to information we need. When courts can force reporters to break promises, we all lose the watchdogs who protect us from corruption.